America, where we belong. Join the journey, let's pass the time. With culture, dreams, and hearts that climb. From American Samoa shore to America, we're so much more.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. I'm your host, Moafanua.
And I'm Ili.
What's up, cousin?
Man, what's up?
We back at it, just another day. Thank God for another Thursday. For everybody tuning in, we appreciate y'all. Before we start, man, I just want to make a shout out to everybody that's been purchasing the Uce Red Make America Great Almost version of the Uce Podcast hat, and also the one that Ili's rocking right there, the visor. So we appreciate everybody. We got limited in stock because come the end of this month, we will announce what's going on with that. So this is the only time y'all going to be able to purchase this. And we'll see. We'll see depending on the audience and the demand. And you can find all that, guys.
www.yuce.com, right below us.
Yes. Purchase yours today. It helps make us continue to do stuff like this. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody that has been purchasing it. Also shout out to Foshay. Foshay, man, him and his videos, man, we got a lot of feedback of the Uce t-shirt. People are really digging it. Even he loves the beanie. So shout out to my Uce Foshay. We had a conversation. We are working to link up with David Tua. So shout out to David Tua. He's in Samoa right now. But a possibility that we might be network or actually meeting the man, the legend, sometime, I believe, next month or the month after that. He's coming out to Indiana. So, we'll make our way out there, man. So shout out to my Uce Foshay for making that happen, my Uce. And Foshay will be coming on our podcast to chop it up with the Uce family. You know what I'm saying? See what he's been up to. See his expertise and his love connection. You know what I'm saying? How he's been up. You know what I'm saying? For those that follow my Uce Foshay, he's still saying, which I believe he is right about it, the Ileke, you know what I'm saying? He said that, and some artists from Samoa made a song out of it. So great stuff coming down the future. And anything for you on your end, cousin, that you got for us?
Nope, just still waiting on some responses back from guests that I'm inviting. I hit up everybody through their TikTok Messenger and then even on Facebook. So those of you who are hearing this or seeing me talking, respond. If not, that's fine, but at least give it a little respond. Say you're not interested or you are interested. Other than that, I'm just looking for future guest speakers on here because the whole goal of Uce is it's a one-stop shop for resources. We want to connect everybody here. Our goal is, as cousins, we're family, and we want to create a bigger family. So come on to the Uce Podcast because we would love to be the resource center for everyone. So that's the whole thing with our podcast, is getting people resources that we need, especially with everything that's going on, with today's climate. Let us be your Google search. We'll be right here, and we'll be putting out clips when we get special guests on here. We love to pick their brains and then just share the information with all our listeners and our future listeners. So that's my goal on my end, cousin. Just email us right there below. You see it, service@yuce.com, or go to our website, but you can click on or email service@yuce.com and let us know that you're interested.
Yes, there you have it, guys. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about taxes. Everybody's been complaining about, well, I want to say complaining, but that's what's boiling right now. On a lot of it, yes, is from the federal department, the government workers, but it's also trickling down to some of these big corporation companies that rely on the government for the funds to make their business go. So we're going to cover that. We're going to do our best to try to dissect, and let's have a conversation about that, guys. Why do I bring that up? Because a lot of our concerns are about the complexity and the perceived inequity in the U.S. tax system. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the ones, it impacts us, the middle classes and the lower classes. So we're going to dive into that with the recent tax policies that affects over, well, I don't know about you, cuz, but I also kind of want to try to see if we can cover it from the past 5 years, try to see if we'll do our best to try to cover the history of it and compare apples to apples and explore potential strategies that we can, allow, or even just have a open mind to kind of like think out the box, I guess, to help alleviate the burden of taxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So before, like you said, we can quickly define what federal taxes are. So, because we have some listeners, like I always think about our little young Uce, just learning, because these things are not taught in our current school system. So it's good to have this recorded so we can send it out to everybody. So, the pros of it is the public services and is the infrastructure. The federal taxes help fund national programs such as Social Security, Medicare, defense, and other essential services that benefit society as a whole. State taxes support local services like education, public safety, roads, and public health programs. This helps maintain and improve infrastructure at the state and local levels. I just want to just define those two so people
I love that.
understand what the difference is between the federal taxes and the state taxes. So, as our responsibility, paying taxes is part of the social contract in democratic societies and contributing to the common good and ensuring the functioning of essential services that everyone benefits from. And that's why there's a big talk about, taxes these days. It's been elevated because, as we can see, the newest addition of Doge to the federal government is trying to make this government efficiency. So what they're looking at are the taxes. And because we pay taxes, everyone who pays federal taxes, that's what's funding everything that I just mentioned earlier. So that's why there's a big talk. That's why people say that's our money that's going here, our money going to these contracts, our money's going here. It's because of your federal taxes. I don't mean it. I'm trying to just, teach our young ones. So like, quote, dumb it down a little bit. But yeah, so.
I love that. Continue, cousin.
So both federal and state taxes, they do offer opportunities for deductions and credits, like for education, home ownership, medical expenses, that can reduce your overall tax liability. What it's supposed to do is taxes help create a stable financial environment by allowing governments to manage economic cycles, including responding to recessions. Are we currently in a recession? Some people think so. Are we going to go in one? It is supporting recovery efforts and managing public debt. As you can see, USA, our country, is in a huge debt. We're talking trillions of dollars in debt. So that's why it's huge. That's why we like to talk about it, because it is your money. You're working hard. You're leaving your house and going to work 8 hours or 12 hours out of a 24-hour day. Work, give your money, and then you look at your paycheck. You see the taxes being deducted, so much of it, and then not on top of that, I know you're going to cover it on your end when people work overtime. Depending on how many hours you work, a huge part of that's going to be taxed. And I think most recently, don't quote on me, a bill has been passed. But I gotta do my research more, so I don't want to say too much on it. It's supposed to allegedly say that no tax on overtime and all that good stuff. But I just want to keep it there because I want to read the bill some more and see what exactly the content of it says. Some of the cons of the taxes. In certain areas, tax rates can be high, which might feel burdensome. That's what a lot of people are feeling right now, especially for individuals or businesses in higher income brackets. This can reduce, like I just said earlier, disposable income and affect personal savings. So, that's sometimes it may feel like taxes are taken without direct benefit, especially when the services funded by taxes are directly used by an individual. It just goes to military, like example, spending, federal grants, and other states. So that was I wanted to cover that before we go into deeper about taxes, bro.
Great job. And I also want to go ahead and just cover the the recent taxes policy that changes their impact that impacted us. So if we go back into 2017, it's called the Tax Cuts and the Job Act to the JCJA Act of 2017. This significant overhaul reduced the federal corporation tax rates from 35% to 21%, and it adjusted individuals' income tax brackets, which aiming to stimulate economic growth. But however, analysts indicates that the benefit, it basically disproportioned the favor, and it favors the rich folks, people with high income. Everybody has 300,000 and up. And it put a dent on us middle class and lower class. One of those things that the act that they brought out at that time, another one was in 2027. It's called the American Rescue Plan Act. You remember that one?
ARP. Yeah, I've read something about that.
ARPA, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the COVID, you know what I'm saying? Everybody remembers that one, the COVID-19 pandemic. So it provided direct financial assistance to low and middle class income Americans, which expanded the child tax credit, which is the CTC, and it increased the earning of income taxes for credit. Now, these measures temporarily boosted after-tax incomes for many of the households. You know what I'm saying? So, like for me, I live in the state of Kentucky. So, for the state tax reforms in the state of Kentucky has been gradually reducing its individual income taxes since 2023. The rate decreases it went from 5% to 4.5%. And legislation has been enacting, I guess, to further reduce it to like 3.5. That's the goal for at least next year. So I'm actually looking forward to that. But while these cuts are aimed to, for stimulant to help the economy grow, there are a few concerns that may affect these kind of things. But it's still, at the end of the day, it benefits the rich. And of course, us, the middle class and lower class folks, are going to be the ones paying for it. How are we paying for it? Gas, groceries, all these taxes getting cut from our paycheck, which we'll cover down the road. So the expansions of state tax. So to offset the revenue loss from the income taxes that they reduce, I'm just talking about the state of Kentucky, they expanded its sales tax base to include, they expanded that, and it based it off of more services. They're assuming, which obviously I'm employed by one of a new company that's been created here in Kentucky. So this shift can place a higher, what do they call it? It's going to be more taxes. The bottom line is it's still going to burden the middle class and lower class. Why? Because in order to bring these companies into the state of Kentucky, who do you think is going to fund it? Who do you think is going to fund all the moves, all these equipment? And mind you, let's just talk about motor vehicles. You know how everybody, all these Ford, who else? Nissan, Toyota, Chevy are in competition with Elon Musk with the EV, electric vehicle batteries, which, long story short, Donald Trump is not in favor of, but the Biden administration was. And of course, like I mentioned before in the previous episode, that plan is going to still go effect. It ain't going to change until maybe the end of the year or the following year. Before that, it still benefits the EV companies who are in competition with Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? But where I'm getting to, cuz, is even though that these companies are coming into the state of Kentucky, the businesses where we buy these products, whether it's anything that has to do with electronics, anything that has to do with ingenuity, they're not based in Kentucky. They're based out of state. A lot of them is actually based international. So there's a trigger effect because now we're spending money outside from our tax paying to bring these parts or materials into the state to build these stuff that eventually we're going to compete with Elon Musk, right? And that's, again, man, trying to make sure that we understand that at the end of the day, the ones that suffer are us, the middle class and lower class. So with that said, how do you think we can fix that? What do you think that us, the people, can do to turn this around, to make this stop? What do you think? Because I'm just throwing it out there.
Make what stop? Exactly what is your question? Make what
All
stop?
these extra taxes, you know what I'm saying? That even though they're using the fact that, oh yeah, we're gonna bring more like the stimulus check, right? Like I mentioned from the history from COVID. They're and then you heard as we talked from our previous episode, they're talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna get the biggest stimulus check, bigger than the one that we had in 2021. Well, guess what? There's always, even though those that will receive it, it gotta come from somewhere. But it ends up being the middle class and the lower class. So my question is, what do us middle class and lower class need to do to stop all these insane stuff happening? Because at the end of the day, we're still paying for it.
Right. So the only way to change it is law. The legislative, like I was mentioning earlier about the taxes on the no exempt from overtime earnings and all that stuff. So recently, find this right here, finally found it. The U.S. House of Representatives just passed a budget resolution that includes a proposal to eliminate federal taxes on overtime. This initiative, it basically aligns with Donald Trump's campaign promise to reduce taxes on overtime tips and Social Security benefits. So the proposed change would exempt overtime earnings from federal taxation, allowing employees to retain more of their additional income. With that goal is give more money to us, the middle class, people, so we can put back into consuming, purchase, stuff. But the other problem is when we go purchase, we're still being taxed when we purchase things. So it's just like a big old cycle that goes around and around. So the only way we could change this is basically calling your congressmen, congresswomen, senators, and to advocate to change these laws so, it can benefit the people. But right now, it just passed the House, so it has to go through a legislative process where it goes through Congress. Once it passed, then it goes to the Senate, and then that's when it goes up to the president to sign off on it. So this piece of legislative passed with a vote of 217, and then with the nays of 215. So, however, this resolution serves as a framework, meaning it does not immediately change the tax laws. It's just a proposal to become law, and it must, again, like I said, go through further legislative process. So the potential impact for this, if enacted, this change could provide financial relief to workers who receive overtime pay, potentially increasing their take-home earnings. So the goal of that is, more money in our pockets, and then more money we can spend out, and feed back to the economy. But right now, it just passed the first stage. But to answer your question, basically, is things like this, passing legislative law.
And to add on to that, I also feel like the, what is that called? The EITC, which is the Earned Income Tax Credit. It's designed to benefit like the low income to moderate income workers. And this EITC can significantly reduce the amount of tax that we owe. It may result in, but the only thing is, when it comes to returns, you'll get a smaller return, which eligibility and credit amounts varies based on the income on a family size. Why do I say that? Because another thing is, a lot of American families that work, we all have children. So another thing that when you're talking about these plans, it would be nice to have like a child and development care credit. If you occur, if you're paying for daycare, man, daycare is like a mortgage of its own.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, come up with some kind of credit like that. I always argue the fact us, I wouldn't want to say the word baby daddies, but for parents who separate, either it's the mother or the father that wins the physical custody, child support. So whoever's paying the child support should also have a credit at the end of the year, because that person is paying But it doesn't work like that. No, it's the person that's receiving the child support not only and then on top of that gets the benefit at the end of the year to claim the children. I feel like those that are paying child support, which there's a lot of us, there's a lot of fathers out there, or even mothers that are doing that. There's a lot of us. Everything that has to do with families, build the tax credit around that. Not just where it just benefits corporations with the gas, traveling and stuff like that, air mileage, buying real estate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they get a tax break. No, I'm talking about regular middle class and lower class. We need to benefit from stuff like I just mentioned, child care, child support, you know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff. So Kentucky, the family size tax credit. This state specifically credits is available to residents who modify depending what their income is, that falls below a certain bracket, like you said, like a certain threshold. I think they need to cut that crap out because for example, a family of a household, right? Let's just say there's 4, because normally there's always 3. Let me just be logical. 2 parents, right? Plus a child, that's three bodies in the household. Now, if you make $200,000 together, you don't qualify. Which is, to me, that's unfair because there can be somebody that has like a household of 7 and only one person makes that below that money and qualifies for it, which is unfair for the ones that has only one child who has to continue to pay. And I only know that because I'm living that. I've been living that. My youngest is 13 years old. I've been living that for like 22 years, you know what I'm saying, of my life, paying all this money and we don't get that break. Like, I feel like a lot of that stuff needs to be brought up too, you know? Another thing I feel like too is adjusting the withholding of the allowance of the W-4s, that W-4 form, man, you know? Like, they need to adjust the withholding, like the paychecks, because, you know, I always like be bitching and moaning to you about like, cuz I can't believe not only that I'm paying for the state of Kentucky, I'm paying for the city I live in, I pay for the city that I work at, which is not the city that I live in. On top of that, the county, that's 4 already. Not including like the Medicare that I keep bitching about, that I never need and never use. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a waiver, something. I'm all for helping our country out, but if we're giving so much away just from our paycheck, something's got to change. And it just bothers my mind how people just accepted it and just like, yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Everything is taxed. Like you just mentioned, you know, you have local sales taxes. The counties and cities can, you know, which means that it varies in by location. Let me give you an example because I'm in Washington State. So Washington has a state sales tax of 6.5%, which applies to most goods and certain services. Now check out, I live in Seattle. Our sales tax can be as high as 10.1%. Last time I remember it was like 9-something%. That's just living in Seattle and if you purchase in Seattle. A lot, you know, man, I feel like we're going to school with this, educating people on the taxes. So if you purchase goods out of the state and bring them into Washington, you may owe, you know, use tax, which is similar to sales tax. But the unique thing about Washington State, we're one of the few states that state worker does not have a personal income tax. So what this means is individuals do not pay state taxes on wages or salary, which is a unique aspect of Washington's tax system. But of course, you know, they have property tax and so forth, and business occupation tax, the state tax, and other taxes. So the conclusion of this whole Washington State thing, although our laws are unique, primarily due to the absence of a personal income tax and reliance on sales property and taxes, the Washingtonians enjoy the benefit of not paying state taxes, but you pay elsewhere. Just like you mentioned earlier, we face higher sales tax and other indirect taxes that could impact basically a burden, tax overall burden. Taxes. Oh my goodness.
That should wake people up. Why are we paying so much tax when, I mean, you go to history, you think about how the economy started. You can go back to, like I always say from church, it's 10%. and that helps build the church. Well, you can even use church as an example. People are getting away from the 10%. Now you got every little different departments or ministry, that, depending what you call it, whatever church you're in, they got to do fundraise. They also got to put in money for that. People are not only just, we're just talking about a regular paycheck. We're not even considering the fact that people that does go to church or are in a homeowner association or even in a club. Parents that also that has kids that are teens who are in sports, dance, musical stuff. There's so many things that where the money's just getting pumped out. At the end of the day, the middle class and the lower class are the ones that's got to pay for everything.
And
it's crazy, man.
And that's why people have to pay attention to their local community, what's going on, what type of laws are being passed, because you don't know, all of a sudden you're just going to start seeing, like here in Washington, the tabs. Tabs is ridiculous. I just paid, last year paid like $500 for my tab. $500. And I remember...
What's a tab? What do you mean?
You know, the stickers, the car tabs?
My
car
God.
tabs. Yeah. So mine was almost $500. The lowest I paid was like 20 years ago was $89, you know. And then every year, you know, because we're paying for this sound transit train, and now King County is paying for it again. So our car tabs just stay the same, high as hell, over $500. Right now, I think they passed a law about, you know, that we have to pay per mile or something. So I got to read into that. I mean, that's why in order to change things, we got to be in the know and attend these, and then hit your state representatives, legislative, because they're just passing laws, taxing everything. Pretty soon they're going to start taxing when you go to the restroom. God damn it, you know? I mean, everything's going to be taxed if we don't pay attention to what's going on within your local community. So,
are you guys getting the same thing, California, where like wherever you go park at, all of a sudden you're paying for all these parking fees, where it used to never be like that?
You know what? I don't know.
I was amazed from that.
How'd you find out when you were out there parking?
Yeah.
Damn.
Sacramento, San Francisco, LA. Like, hey, we got to pay for everything. You know, in fact, the world was going to end when we had to pay for water, which we're still paying for water, and we're accustomed to it. I mean, the bottom line is, folks, what me and Ili is saying, we as a people need to focus about this. Get educated. How do you get educated? Tune into the White House podcast. Another way is find somebody that knows or even seek professional help if you got the funds to do it. A lot of companies have these, we need to pay attention to the benefits that we get. Don't just pay attention to your health care and your retirement. There's all these help that the corporation gives us. They do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of company does have all these resources to help us, but it is us as individuals to come together with one voice and give it to the man, what I'm saying, the man, the government, not just Donald Trump, but the White House and the whole federal government, you know, the government, to get it right for us. Because, I mean, it's, you know, you hear it all the time. People are like, man, they don't know what to do next. Pretty soon it's going to be a riot. Not that long ago, me, you, and shout out to Chief Loud and Gospel Smooth, we covered this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where they were like, in the Bay Area, you know what I'm saying? People were literally able to just go freely and rob whatever.
Yeah, fill up their cart and just walk out.
Yeah. I mean, it did dim down, but the fact is that what we're getting to? You know what I'm saying? So addressing the systematic tax increase is what we need to focus on, man. People, man, pay attention to all these little things. And like me personally, I didn't care too much about it, but the importance to recognize that while individual strategies can provide some relief, the systematic issues within the tax code contributes to ongoing disparities. Leveling up disparities. Well, I'm basically doing that right now, complaining about like this, that, you know what I'm saying? So how do we do it, man? Regression tax structure, finding these like we talked about, you know what I'm saying? Shift from income to sales taxes It doesn't matter what we do. God damn, it don't matter what we do, cuz there's no way to get out of it without just everybody coming together and saying enough is enough. We just got to pay one tax. But I was thinking about what you were saying when you brought up cars, right? So why are we not only you're paying for your tag, you said $500. On top of that, if you're still leasing the car, you got to pay a monthly fee on that. Then on top of that, you have insurance. That's 3 different things. Why can't we claim that on the taxes? No, you have to be a business owner and make that much money to use that as your tax deductible. But why cannot they need to make that a law to where all of us are using that, where we all can get credit for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, stop the bullshit. Get insurance. Why didn't everybody ever ask that question? You know what I'm saying? Not only taxes, you got insurance taking our money. All these big insurance, life insurance, roadside insurance, travel insurance, health insurance. Like, all these insurance, man. I don't know, man.
So I want to stand corrected on my comment about the car mileage for Washington State. So the bill was introduced this month, proposing it was called a road usage charge to replace the existing gas tax system. So this initiative aims to address declining gas tax revenues due to increased fuel efficiency and the growing number of electric vehicles. So the charge rate, this bill proposes a charge of 2.6 cents per mile driven. They want to implement this in 2027.
Okay, so here's a reality question. Do you got an EV car? I don't even have an EV car. Do you want an EV car? I don't too. Why do we need that? And the question too, who has an EV car? People like Elon Musk, people like whoever, everybody else that got electric vehicle cars, right? Why are we paying for it? Why aren't these companies that decided to make this invention pay for it? That's where you need to wake up. Need to wake up, because at the end of the day, they're always going to turn to us middle class and lower class. So let's go ahead and make up a fancy word where people won't want to research and make it align to that. It sounds like a federal thing that, you know, we need to pay these taxes.
And they
in
put
order
so
to live
many
in whatever state.
They put so many stuff in the bills, you know, they fluff it up, bunch of fillers, so people get like a 20 or 30 page, let's just say small kind, 30-page bill. But it's like you really have to read the details of what the true intention of what they're trying to do in there. So it is very important to look into it, because right now the bills that are coming through are being introduced. It could be up to 399, 401 pages long. Just basically a filibuster within the bill. It is just insane how these things just coming out. So yeah, like, why are we paying for things that other people create? And it's just lining up pockets and just excuse for the lawmakers to create more taxes for us to pay. So pay attention, everybody. It's very crucial that we're educated upon what's going on around us, so you know what's going on, because you basically need to tell your money where to go. But if people are passing these laws, so basically we're all being forced to pay taxes. And part of it is our fault, you know, as a community, as tax-paying individuals. We didn't pay attention. We didn't go out and, you know, do what we're supposed to do. So it is very important to stay on top of what's going on in the know with current events.
And then this is also, I feel like I'm obligated to say this because obviously an immigrant, brown skin, I'm not white or black, the American patriot, right? But I am an American. This is for all of us immigrants, because we feel like, oh man, we need to pay these dues in order to be an American. No, you were born in this soil, you serve your country, or you're paying taxes, you're an American. So you need to step up like we are, talking about this, voicing the opinions out there, so where we will be able to connect with those that can actually make a change. People like Tulsi Gabbard, people like RFK Kennedy, people like that, to reach those kind of folks out. Heck, even Dwayne Johnson, if he ever listens to this podcast, you know what I'm saying? Utilizing your voice, you know, or your platform or your network to like come together. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, what are people like Dwayne Johnson are afraid of? Is it your brand? Well, the data shows that social media is actually taking over. The celebrities are people that are YouTubers. TikTokers, they have a bigger platform. Why do I say that? Because somebody like Keith Lee, who just goes and tests food, obviously that's one of the main things that's going on, where the UK is very disappointed with the man Keith Lee because he doesn't like European food. You know what I'm saying? That's that whole beef. And a regular Joe, who was just being authentic, and he's always said it, hey, I'm not an expert. I'm just letting you guys know of what I feel, what I taste, my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And it's very sad when you got the main media broadcasting that, oh, Keith Lee and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just stirring stuff up. That's what happens when we're so used to just hearing what you see on TV and you go by it. You know what I'm saying?
Because, we're so used to those news media outlets. That's where we used to get our information, even on the newspapers instead of online, the social media that we have now. We were always glued to the TV. Ooh, what the news got to say, because that was word. It was golden. But nowadays, the social media is the platform to be on. That's why you have people leaving the news network and doing their own podcast network. You have people like Joe Rogan, who was UFC and all that. He used to host game shows back in the days. He has a podcast. There's a whole bunch of people online, and even just like us who are not like popular.
What are you talking about? We popular.
Well, I'm saying, okay, we are popular. But anyways.
If you look at what popular is, if you got followers more than 100, you're popular.
True statement. But when you use this platform, like what we have, that's where everyone's going to, because it's more authentic. It's not sanitized. It is not, redacted or anything. We're just speaking to the listeners, just like everyone else. That's why, just go to Uce.com and follow us. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, obviously, right here. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. So we're just here to share what our opinion is. We want to be authentic to you all. We want to share everything, whatever we can, because it is important, as we say earlier, it's important to utilize your voice, because your voice does matter. And when it comes to money, it's important to understand the taxes. It's important to know where your money is going. And it's important for you to know that you need to be the one to control your money, to be able to tell your money where to go. But in order to do that, we just got to have that mindset where you're willing to learn. And part of willing to learn where you can learn is right here in the Uce Podcast. Come join, just chill with us every Thursday evening. It was 7 p.m. Eastern time, but it's now 8 p.m. Eastern time. Am I right, bro? 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're just here to chill on a cool vibe, because it is chaotic out there. We all know everybody's stressing with everything that's going on, but once you know what's going on and you understand the grass, it kind of calms you down, because basically you should know what you should do to help calm the nerves, anxiety down. That's my little spill on my little soapbox.
It's like it's going back to, I don't know if I'm going off topic with it, but I think it's more of gearing towards of standing up for what you believe in, or just being aware of what's going on. And what am I saying by that? Here's an example, right? So me and my buddies, we got together sometime this week, and we all met up at a restaurant, and it was 3 of us. So my coworkers. We haven't seen each other for so well. We've been so busy that we're like, hey man, let's all link up after work. Let's go have dinner. All right, that works. So then when we get there at the restaurant, and like what Ili was saying, is being aware and understanding what's going on. I am now understanding, like you heard Donald Trump, the tax break, one of his plans is for waitresses, right? That there's something about the waitress with their tips that they don't get tax on it, or just like a tax break or something where it benefits them. And then one of my buddies was me. This person right here that's serving, the server, is doing such a great job. Me and you, he was telling me, we should give like $15 each. And I told him, like, bro, you want to give 15? Go right ahead. I'm going to give what I feel like that person deserves, even though that person's doing such a great job. Long story short, I ended up tipping what I felt that person deserves. Just because my buddy and my other buddies decided that they want to go ahead and put in 15, that's $30 already tip, doesn't mean I want to be obligated to do it. I'm not going to be peer pressured, and I'm not going to do it. Do I have the money? Yes, I do. But I understand that the person that's serving us is just taking down our orders and refilling our drinks. That person's not cooking my food, did not set up this whole restaurant, did not pay my gas to get there. It's just stuff like that, changing the mindset. You know what I mean? Because some people will want to argue with me, or like, man, you're being cheap. My wife used to be a server. I said, well, guess what? Me too. I used to be a server, so I know how it works. You know what I'm saying? And your $30 plus my little $5, it's going to cover everything else. That person's going to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just the change of the mindset. Now, long story short, and I'm not saying this is happening, but imagine the rest of the week. That might be us 3 married men. That's our allowance. They sacrifice $15. I save an extra $10. Now, Kenny got $10 to spend for lunch tomorrow, while the other 2 lost theirs. You know what I'm saying? It just depends how you go, because we're all getting paid the same. So it's that mindset. It's the changing of the muscle memory and changing the culture, really.
And you hit it. It's speaking up. You didn't stay quiet and went with the crowd. You decided, you made your own decision. So you're able to come to your conclusion like, okay, I understand what you guys are saying, but I used to do this too. So I'm just going to go ahead and do what I want to do while you guys go ahead and do what you want to do. It aligns with everything that you and I are talking about. It's basically, we want people to exercise their right to voice their opinion. It's okay to be different from your inner circle, whoever you're with at the time. You don't have to go with the flow. You don't have to go with the crowd. You don't have to lie to kick it. You don't have to try to keep up with the Joneses. So that's what we're trying to say here is use your voice. Say what you have to say. You don't have to agree with everybody. But it's also important to know what's going around, on your surroundings. And just like, Kenny, you experienced, because you worked as a waiter or waitress. And so they couldn't say anything to you, but they have to respect the fact that you say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do me. You guys do you. But yeah, so bottom line is, don't be afraid to speak up or speak out. Because like they said, if you don't say nothing, really no change. That's where it all starts, is changing your mindset and how you speak. It speaks volumes.
Yeah, man. We got to get off of, and I blame, what do they call that? Hypnotized, what's the word? When you're being tortured or you're being forced to, like even back in the days when people were enslaved, the masters will whip them. And they will feel like that's the only way they will punish people, because the source that they had was the grain, the food. I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about the biblical times, right? And pharaohs, they knew that their grain was controlled, and the water was controlling the majority of the Jews, the Israelites. So in order to keep them in line, they will only give a little bit of this. And there was only a little of these rich people, and they will whip them, punish them and stuff like that. So the majority felt like, oh, this is the only way. This is life, until Moses came along, right? And you guys understand the story of how that goes. Took one person to do the act with the act of God, and everybody followed. Went through the Red Sea, went through the Promised Land, although it took a long time. Long story short, the bottom line is, I blame television, radio, commercial, pumping that through our brains since we were all born. Heck, our parents were victim of it. Our great-great-parents were victim of it. They felt like, oh, you're just someone. Your job is just to dance, smile, and go along. You know what I'm saying? You don't really belong here. You need to listen to all these white people. They are America. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's what I blame, and in order to get
your
all
opinion,
of that,
right? That's your opinion.
yeah, this is my personal opinion. That's just literally how I look at it. And I'm saying that because now And I'm not blaming the white folks. No. Now it's a different strategy now because diversity is huge in the White House. There's a good mixture out there. So you can't blame a certain race. Now it's certain people that are in charge, sitting in this position, who never came from poverty. I mean, who probably came from poverty, which is probably true. Now they've tasted something new, and whoever's on that top chain, the 2%, paying these ones that are in seat, here, man, you like that money? Yeah, I need you to do these rules. I need you to write these laws, pass this out, pass this law. Do not pass this one. Go ahead and charge Seattle that oil that I need to get out there. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and stop. They won't know about it. You still got that middle-class poor man mentality. So when you do become into a position, you're not so used to all that money that you don't want to lose that benefit. So you're thinking in your head, well, okay, let me just sign that off. But what you're really doing, you're affecting the whole economy. And when one day, like again, this is just my own personal opinion because I believe in history and history tends to repeat itself. I personally feel like, that's just my opinion, America, our time is coming up. Just like Rome, every other country in this world, Britain, y'all had your time. America, our time is eventually coming up. Who knows? Until we know how to, make sure that we follow history and do a change.
Sure, learn from history.
Learn from history and make that change while it's not too late. You know what I'm saying? Because what happened to Rome? Those senators all felt like they were the people instead of Julius Caesar and all of them. They kept on backstabbing their own soldiers who defended and got all these landscapes for them. And it only took a few men. And what happened? The whole empire fell. And that's what's happening in America. It only takes not just men, but women that's in these seats to continue on to follow that trend.
Bad, not bad there, Kenny. That was a good topic. Taxes. Love it. Anyone have anything they want to share, just go ahead and leave it in the comment.
We're going to take a little break here. Let me play a little bit of music.
Powered by Riverside.
This week's spotlight, we want to highlight my Uce, John Akapo. My man, the wedding singer, the entertainer, the one-man band from Hawaii, from the 808. Everybody give it up for John Akapo. If you out there, you ready to get married, to fall in love, or just have a good time, and you're looking for somebody to DJ, entertain your family, friends, your future fiance, whatever, John Akapo is the one you want to contact. We're going to be posting his link below. My man is the original. Well, after Fiji, he's the original, at least for myself. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my Uce John Akapo. Yes, sir.
Get it, John Akapo. Silk smooth voice there, buddies. You guys need to hit him up.
My Uce John Akapo, man.
All right. We got the Motivational Pulse going on. Hope you all having a fantastic evening tonight. So what we talked about, educating, learning. So our quote tonight is from Muhammad Ali. Even the greatest was once a beginner. Don't be afraid to take that first step. Hey, don't forget. Speak up. Use your voice. Don't be afraid. We're all beginners. Like we said, you want to learn how to make changes? Take that first step. How to make changes within your community? Visit legislative, state legislative, congresswomen and senators. That's how you make that change, is by taking that first step.
And I'm Moafanua.
And I'm Ili.
Let's